another episode of the Park2Park podcast where we compare theme park offerings from coast to coast. We don't always see eye to eye, but in the end, we'll try. I'm your host, CJ, and I'm joined again by my sister and co-host, Alli. Alli, how are you on this Sunday afternoon?
Hey, CJ, I'm exhausted. How are you?
Also exhausted. Why are you exhausted?
Because I woke up at 5:30 2 days in a row to go run 5Ks.
Oh, okay, that explains it.
Yeah, why are you exhausted? Does it have something to do with your children?
Yes, that is the sole reason I am exhausted.
Understood.
And we just got back from a little vacation, so everybody's kind of, off a little bit.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think tomorrow it's our first full week home. I think we'll be back into the routine and doing okay.
Yeah, it's, as you know, I came home from Florida, I was home for a week, and then I went to California for a week. I've been home for almost 2 weeks now, and Thursday was the first day that actually felt like, okay, this is normal.
Yeah. Sometimes that happens on vacation, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Well, we are going to continue part 2 of your trip report. It might be part 2 of 3. I guess we'll see how far we get. But we're going to start with talking about runDisney Princess Half Marathon Weekend.
Which was about a month ago at this point. So
yes,
y'all gotta bear with me.
Recording date. So yeah, it's been a while. But tell me, what races did you run?
I ran the 5K and the 10K.
And how long have you been running for? Is this your first runDisney event? Tell us a little bit about that.
So it is not my first runDisney event. I'll start with that. So about 9 years ago in 2014, you and me and Dad ran the Disneyland Half Marathon. That was my first foray into running. A few months after that, I don't remember, did you do the 10K too at the Star Wars 10K?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, a bunch of us, I don't remember entirely who ran the Star Wars 10K. And then I stopped running until 2022, basically, when CJ signed us up CJ convinced me to sign up for the Springtime Surprise 5K last year. We were very interested in it because it had a scavenger hunt component, which our family is very competitive and we love Disney scavenger hunt. So I was like, yeah, sure, let's do this. And I forgot how much fun Disney races are, and I had forgotten how attainable a 5K is. So a 5K, for people who aren't runners, is 3.1 miles, and you can walk that in an hour. You can power walk that in 45. So it's really not that much. And so I got back into running around the time that I was like, okay, gotta do a 5K. I sit on my butt at work all day and I don't really get out and move. My step count, it was a big day if I hit 5,000 steps at that time, which is way less than the recommended 10,000 steps, which I still don't regularly hit, by the way. I will hit it today, though. Parking was a long way from the start line, much like it is at Disney races. Hey. Yeah, so that was kind of how I got back into running. Was signing up for last year's Springtime Surprise 5K. Had so much fun that I said, you know what? I want to run a medaled race every month from now on. So I've been doing 5Ks ever since then. I did one this morning and I did one yesterday too. Do not necessarily recommend back-to-backing it, but that's fine. I knew I could do it because last month I did the 5K and 10K. The reason I signed up for the 10K in addition to the 5K, I mean, I don't really know what my reasoning was. I feel like it was... okay, well, when you think about how long in advance you sign up for the runDisney races... So I signed up for that in June, and the race was in February. So we're talking 9 months ago I signed up for this race.
Yeah, and just for some more context, if you've never done a runDisney event before, you have to sign up really early. Like, I signed up, I think, in February. Yeah, it was Valentine's Day for January 2024 at Disneyland. And it's currently March, and last week, like just about a week ago, was the sign up for November 2023 Wine and Dine. So you really have to, like, if you want to do the race, you can't really decide last minute, oh, I want to do this. Like, no, you have to be on it.
Yeah, it didn't used to be this intense, but it has certainly become, it's the race before the race is the race to get signed up.
Yeah, pretty much.
So basically, I think my reasoning was I told Dad, I will sign up for whatever you sign up for, except for the half marathon, because I'm not doing one of those ever again. I've since rescinded that statement to, okay, if I do another half marathon, it's going to be if they ever reopen the Disneyland Paris half marathon. And I'm rescinding that statement because now I'm signed up for a half marathon in December out here.
Oh, which one are you doing?
It's in Texas, so it's not one that you would have ever heard of. It's run by a very small nonprofit here in Texas, but it's the Run Field Race Series. So it's a series of 5 races that was $100 to sign up for total.
Oh,
so
wow.
It's $20 per race. And
that's
I get a
so
medal
cheap.
each time. Yeah, exactly. So it starts with the 5K in March, which was 2 days ago. Or I'm sorry, it was yesterday. They do a 10K in May. They do an obstacle course race in July. They do a 10-miler in September and the half marathon in December. So you can sign up for one. You can sign up for all. I signed up for all because it was a really, really great deal. Yeah, and it's the same. It's in the same neighborhood every single time, so you have like a sense of familiarity with like where you're going, and it's put on by a local nonprofit.
Cool.
Yeah.
So so you ran with our dad, who's a pretty much better runner than the two of us.
Yeah, let's rephrase that. Dad ran with me. Because he slowed down to match my pace. Thanks, Dad.
Yes.
Love you.
Yes. Okay, so let's talk about arriving to Run Disney races, specifically the princess races. Now, since, Mom and Dad and myself are local, you're staying with them and you're just driving in. So where was parking for these races?
Epcot, the Epcot parking lot for both of them.
And then pretend like you've never run a Run Disney race and you're wondering like, well, how long's the walk to the corrals? What do we do in the corral? Just kind of describe that.
The joke is that the walk from your car to the corral is the 5K before the 5K because it's a long walk. Yes. I want to say it's like at least a mile.
Yeah.
So it was about a mile walk from the parking lot where we parked the car to the corral. There's stuff to do before you enter the corral. There's like Dad and I just proceeded straight to corrals, but I have heard from some of my Run Disney friends that there are like characters you can meet before the race, and there's like bag check if you brought more belongings than you can carry with you on the race. I keep my stuff in a little tiny flat fanny pack, and if it's bigger than that, well, it's not coming with me on the race. So but they have bag check. They have the most porta potties I think I've seen in one row in my entire life set up. So Dad and I proceeded straight to corrals. Dad stepped back a corral because you can always step back a corral. You can't step forward a corral. He was assigned a different one from me. So for the 5K, we were in C, and for the 10K, we were in D. So Dad and I proceeded straight to corrals and just kind of like spent our time hanging out, stretching. And there was on-screen entertainment that was also like live hosted entertainment, but there's so many people there that's like we can't visually see them in person, so we're just watching the broadcast happening. So
yeah. So describe your race experience overall. You can talk about it from an athletic point of view, and also from like this is Run Disney experience point of view.
So starting with the 5K, the way that when I run intervals, which means that I do a little bit of walking, a little bit of running, a little bit of walking, a little bit of running. So for both races, we set up to do 3 minutes running, 90 seconds walking, which works really well for me. Different paces will work differently for different people. For instance, CJ, I think Dad said you do slower than that or less running than that.
I do 90 seconds running, 30 seconds walking.
Yeah, that's also a pace that would work great for me. I was in the let's push myself mode. So the other thing is that we ran the boring parts and walked the interesting parts. So when we're like in the backstage areas, in the parking lot, on the highway, like just get those parts over with. Just run through them. And then once you're in the park where it's all cool and stuff, that you walk and you take it all in. That was the way that I did it. You know, to me, if you're doing a Disney race and you're doing it to get a personal best, you're doing it wrong. Like, Disney races are about the experience. They're not setting records. The only personal best you should be getting at a Disney race is, this is my first time doing this level of race, therefore it is by default a personal best. So that's my opinion on Disney races. So that was
I agree with you. I feel like the people who are getting PRs and like really pushing themselves are going to be in the first corral for the most part. It's just a hard race, I think, to have that kind of like personal best experience because it gets so crowded at certain parts. And you know, it's hard to control yourself when you see like the castle that you're running by and you're like, oh, I gotta take a picture, or oh, there's no line for this character, oh, I gotta go here. You know, it's like you kind of squirrel. It's really easy to squirrel away off the course for a second.
It is.
And then that kind of screws up your running plan. But that's okay, you know, and if you try to run it for a personal best, then good luck, and you're going to be spending a lot of time dodging people probably.
Yeah, honestly, I don't think there was a time when we weren't in a crowd of at least 50 people.
Yeah.
Like, those Disney races are very dense.
Well, and one thing that they've done is they lessened the amount of corrals, and they released them in mini waves. And I think because they lessened the amount of corrals, there's just more people per corral, and it just makes it so congested. I wish they would do more corrals, but smaller corrals. And I think that's what they're trying to accomplish with the mini waves, but they don't have that much time between waves that they release. So it still bottlenecks pretty bad at certain parts on the course.
Yeah. In terms of characters, Dad and I did not stop for any characters. The 5K, this was a lot of, well, the 5K and the 10K, a lot of it was because the lines were just too long. The one character that I would have stopped for at the 5K was Cinderella. And when we were approaching Cinderella, she was in the France Pavilion. Obviously, she's a French princess. The cast members were saying the wait time for a picture with Cinderella at this moment is an hour.
Oh my gosh, that is ridiculous.
Yeah. I'm not waiting an hour for a professional picture with Cinderella. I took an extremely blurry selfie and said, okay, let's move on, Dad.
Yeah.
It might be the worst selfie I've ever taken. It's so blurry. Yeah.
So, okay, talk about some of the highs and lows of your race experience.
I was also going to mention about characters. So Dad and I were in Corral D for the 10K, which is the last corral. And we ended up just in the throng of people, we ended up getting pushed to the back. So we were probably the third to last wave to be set free. So when we're going by, you know, the first character stop is half a mile from the start line, pretty much. There was no line. We could have gotten our picture with Tiana, but we were so close to the back that we were like, we just have to keep moving. I don't want to stop for this, even though there are only like 5 people in line. I don't want to stop for this because we're just at the back of this.
That was basically how my marathon experience was when we were at mile 1, and the course officials are like, the balloon ladies are 2 minutes behind you. And we're like, ah! So yeah, there's no lines for characters, but you gotta hustle, like really hustle.
Yeah, it's, I knew we weren't in danger of the balloon ladies because even my walking pace, I can do a 15-minute mile, and we were 3 waves ahead of them, but I was still daunted by this prospect. The longest I had run in training was 5 miles. So for a 10K, you have to do 6.2. And I was just like, okay, let's go.
Right.
Keep it moving.
No, I get that.
I also had a blast running and singing at the top of my lungs to like the whatever music was playing on the course, just belting as loud as I can to Katy Perry Firework and I think A Whole New World and Just Around the River Bend. Yeah, Dad also found this highly amusing, and so did some of the people around me, but I was just like scream singing as I ran.
Nice. So
your question, yes.
Talk about going back, the highs of the race and the lows of the race for you personally.
Having Dad run with me the whole time was really, really nice. I really liked having that time with Dad, just me and him. Of course, obviously, you would have been welcome to. You chose not to run. That's fine. But I really liked having that time with Dad. And the fact that he was like, yeah, I'll slow down and hang out with you the whole time. Like he was going to abandon me. Like he wouldn't do that. But having a running buddy in general was a really, really great part of the race. Watching sunrise over the taco shells in the Epcot lake.
Oh, yes.
Like that was really pretty. Seeing the parks before they open when you're feeling like, I am not supposed to be here. It's way too early for this. Like, that's really cool. Yeah. What else was a high? Oh, really funny. There was part of the 10K course that went past here's where you, like the parking toll booths, basically. Here's where you pay to park and then you can carry on. There's speed bumps there. So there's a continual track of runners, speed bumps ahead, caution runners, speed bumps ahead. It just like repeats over and over and over and over again. And there are people still coming in their cars to get to like spectator areas, or maybe they were cast members. I'm not really sure, but we're in this area and there's a car driving by. He's gone through the booths. He's driving by. He sees the runners. He sticks his head out the window and he says, "Hey, runners, watch out for the speed bumps." And it was just really, really funny. And again, this is less than a mile into the 10K. Everyone's still in like really good spirits. Nobody is like tired yet. So this is just like really funny, really great boost. Yeah, so those were some of the highs. Oh, well, the Encore's Entertainment, whatever high school band was there, they were rocking it. The gospel choir that was there, they were rocking it.
The gospel choir, that's my favorite part.
Yeah, having a little sister act moment there with them. Yeah, so that all was really great.
And then the lows. Any lows?
Lows. It's just so darn crowded. Just all the way constantly congested with people. You know, I couldn't get a picture with the one character I wanted to get a picture with because it was an hour wait. And that's unreasonable. It's unreasonable if you're spending a day in the park. It's unreasonable if you're in the middle of a race. Hard to get pictures with the characters you wanted to. Other lows, you know, having to wake up and eat something at 3 a.m.
Yeah, the early wake up call. Well, the early wake up call is very tough.
I understand why they have to do it early. I wish that, you know, last year the Springtime Surprise 5K started at 10 p.m. I wish they kept that for the 5Ks. Because that was super nice.
I think they could even do that for the 10Ks, to be honest. Half marathon would be rough, but I think they could do that for 10Ks. But I like the later start times. I agree with you. Yeah.
I think that... this is kind of a weird thing for one of the lows. The bananas that they gave out at the end were not ripe. They were very, very firm.
Oh, no.
They were underripe. They weren't overripe. So they weren't really edible. Someone was joking on Friday, wow, they gave us the banana for the half marathon because it'll be ripe by Sunday. And then they gave out honey stinger waffles and I could not open it. It is still sitting on my table because I cannot get the package open.
I don't really like those, so in my opinion, you're not really missing much.
I have never tried one before, so I took home the cookies and cream flavored one because, you know, especially because I am going to be ramping up to train for this half marathon in December now, that I'm maybe having regrets about signing up for it. That's TBD. But, you know, I need to like try out different kind of fuels, and that's a good widely available option.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I usually eat they're called That's It bars. It's just like it's kind of like Kind bars, I guess, or Lara bars or something that only have like natural ingredients.
yeah, it'll like have
So
on the label, it'll say like X, Y, and Z, and that's it.
yes, yes. So I like the apple and blueberry ones. It's literally just apples and blueberries dried up and mushed together into a bar. But to me, it's like there's no added sugars, no added dyes or anything like that. It's just like eating dried fruit essentially
Yeah.
that has a little bit of moisture still in it. So it's not like hard on your stomach or anything.
Yeah.
So that's what I usually eat.
One of my Run Disney friends makes instant mashed potatoes and puts them in like the baby food pouches.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
I
it
don't
works
think
for
I
her.
could.
So.
I don't think I could do potatoes like straight carbs like that. I don't think I could.
It's also, I mean, it's for the salt too.
Oh yeah, that's true.
This is not a Disney thing, but the race that I did today, one of the things that I got in like the packet pickup goodie bag was a pickle pop, which is just an otter pop, but it's all pickle juice. And I'm just like,
yeah, I know some people
why?
swear by pickle
Gross.
juice. I know some people swear by it. I am not willing to try it, but hey, if it works for you,
My husband
it
loves
works for
it.
you. Oh, well, he can have it.
Yeah.
Okay, next question. Back to Run Disney. When do you plan
Yes.
to do another Run Disney event?
I am not sure. I made the decision that I am not going to sign up for any of the Run Disney for the next like season. So the earliest I would do one would be like Wine and Dine of 2024.
That's a really fun one. It includes an after party ticket in Epcot.
Yes. That is an incentive for Wine and Dine, but Run Disney races are expensive, and you have to factor in getting there too. Yeah. And there is, frankly, other things that I would like to spend my vacation time on rather than going to Disney all the time. One of my very long-term goals is I would like to maybe do a 5K in every single state in the US. So I have to stop going to Florida in order to accomplish that. I can't do 50 runs in Florida. So, yeah.
Okay, that's fair. Do you recommend specifically the Princess Half Marathon weekend, and if so, to who?
I think that I would recommend that if you're a Disney fan, you do at least one Run Disney race in your life. I think the Princess Weekend is better for women and female identifying. Not to say that, I mean, obviously men are allowed. I loved seeing the Merida with the curly red-haired wig and the giant beard. But I think so Princess used to be women only, and I'm not sure when it changed to be co-ed, but there's a certain amount of hostility that you can find from women towards men doing the princess races. There's a certain group out there that thinks it should still be women only, and they're not happy about men being able to run princess. But then it's like, well, you look at me, like I was running with my dad and he was out there, supporting me, his princess. So I don't see anything wrong with that.
Yeah. When people get like too extreme like that, it can kind of put a damper on things. So yeah, I think that's a good thing to be aware of if you're a male or if you're somebody who is not a male but is going to be offended by people like that. You're going to hear that kind of talk going on occasionally.
Yeah.
What is one thing that Run Disney is doing well, and what's something you think they can improve on?
They need more races. I think
they do.
I think it would. Well, you would still get the crazy people who try to sign up for like every weekend challenge, like try to do every race every weekend. But I think it would help alleviate some of the demand if they did more races, like more race weekends. They certainly need to like invest more in their IT infrastructure, because you cannot have a race sign up website that crashes and doesn't work or like malfunctions every single time you have sign up, because it happens, right? You know that like sign up is not a surprise. You know there's going to be huge demand for this, and yet the registration website fails like 95% of the time.
Yeah, it's never easy. And even when it's working, it's late. Like the Disneyland half weekend is like 10 minutes late. Wine and Dine was a few minutes late. And it's like, come on.
So yeah, invest in better like IT infrastructure, because it cannot crash every time, and yet it does. Yes. So that's something that they could do better. Have more races, make sign up more smooth. Start races at 10 p.m. instead of 5 a.m. Have more corrals without this wave system.
Yeah.
I do like the Run Disney races. I understand that I'm like being super critical of them right now. I enjoy the Run Disney races. Running through the parks before they open is a really magical experience, and I really like it.
Yeah. So what's one thing they're doing well, you think? Because you've called out a lot that they can improve
on. Having the characters out. I feel like there could have been more for the 5K, but there were so many at the 10K. Just tons of characters. I love that they encourage costumes at the 5K, 10K, half marathon, full, and people will go all out on these costumes. They're incredible. So I love that they encourage costumes. Have ripe bananas to give out. I think that they're also hyper organized. Their water stations are run like a well-oiled machine. First aid, medics, thank you for being there. Volunteers, thank you for being there. Entertainment and characters, thank you for being there. Cast members, thank you for being there. Just everybody who puts work into this, it's amazing.
Yeah, the race day logistics, I think they have handled pretty well. It's all the stuff leading up to it that's like, come on, let's get it together here. But the race day itself, they've got it down. They know what they're doing. They've got that figured out. And it makes for a smooth experience. When you cross the finish line, you can go like right into the medical tent if you need it. Or if you don't need it, you're just like, you're funneled. Like keep walking, keep walking, keep walking. Here's your medal, keep walking. If it's hot, here's a wet towel, keep walking. Here's a drink, keep walking. Here's your snack box, keep walking. Here's the reunion area. Boom. Yeah. Yeah, so highly organized on race day. Love it. So final question. You've done Springtime Surprise, Star Wars weekend in California, Disneyland weekend in California, and now Princess Half. Which is your favorite out of all of those weekends? Well, I mean, I'm kind of biased towards the Star Wars one at Disneyland because that was a really great day for me. And I really like Star Wars. Okay. So that would have to be hang on. If they brought back Star Wars themed half marathon, would you do it? I would strongly consider it. Okay. It would depend. It would all depend on time of year, location. So California versus Florida. That also factors into time of year. And of course, price. Yes. Okay. You heard it here first. Alli may or may not do another half marathon at Disney. That was, what did I say about half marathons at the beginning of all this? I would do the one in Paris if they ever brought it back. Well, so that was never a question. All right. Well, I think that kind of wraps it up for Run Disney. Are we ready for our next topic? Is that a yes? Oh, she's drinking water. That's a yes. We're ready for our next topic, which is... Hey, okay, just for the record, I was going to say yes as soon as I finished drinking water and just like cut all of that out. But now you've made it weird, so I have to include it. Hey, let's just keep it weird. Okay. Okay, our next topic is... Oh, SeaWorld! We went to SeaWorld! We did. Why did we go to SeaWorld? Why don't you explain that one? So, I have a platinum pass there's the SeaWorld in San Antonio, which is a nice hour drive from here. So, I have a platinum pass, which is good at SeaWorld San Antonio, SeaWorld San Diego, SeaWorld Orlando, Busch Gardens in Williamsburg, Virginia, and Busch Gardens in Tampa Bay, Florida. CJ, what level of SeaWorld pass do you have? I've got the silver pass. Which is valid at? SeaWorld Orlando.
and only SeaWorld Orlando.
Yes.
So our original plan was, all right, let's load up and go to Busch Gardens, make the road trip. But in order to save money and drive less, we decided let's go to SeaWorld Orlando.
See, and this whole time that you had been talking about it, I thought in my head, like, you were just going to buy me a ticket to Busch Gardens. Like, I thought you were taking me. Like, hey, CJ, let's go.
Like, I would have, but you bought a SeaWorld pass.
Yeah, I know. It was a good Black Friday deal.
Which is fine. So we went to SeaWorld instead, because then I don't have to buy you a Busch Gardens ticket, and we don't have to spend, how long is it with drivers to Tampa?
I have no idea.
We don't have to spend, I have no idea how long in a car getting there and coming back.
Right. So yeah, I have a silver pass. Alli has platinum pass. We went for one day. It was a Sunday. The 21st, maybe? 20th? No, 23rd.
No.
26th.
Yeah, because I was going to say, I flew home on the 28th, so it was the 26th.
Oh, yes. It was 2 days before, or the day before we did after hours. So,
yeah.
They have a skip the line system. Have you used that at any of their affiliated parks?
I have not.
Okay, I haven't either, and we did not use it on the day that we were there.
So we attempted to. There was a ride that CJ wanted to go on that I didn't want to go on, that the wait was too long for her to justify standing in line just
by myself.
Solo.
Yeah.
So my pass perks come with one free quick queue per visit. Apparently that is only valid at my home park. So I tried to use it for CJ. It did not work because I was not in San Antonio.
Yes. So let's talk about what rides we did do and what rides we skipped.
Do you have a list of all of the rides? Because I just have the list of the rides that we did that we went over before we started recording.
Yeah, I have them in my head.
Okay. So in order, we went on Manta, Kraken, the shark one, Mako, and Icebreaker. We also did the observation tower.
Yeah, and we skipped Journey to Atlantis, I think.
Yes, that's the one that you wanted to go on that I didn't.
And then there's like a water raft ride that we skipped. And we didn't do anything in Sesame Street area. So they've got like a carousel and a couple of little kid rides that we skipped over.
Yeah. And Pipeline, the surf coaster, was not open. The River Rapids ride is called Infinity Falls.
That's what I thought. Okay.
The Antarctica Empire of the Penguin trackless dark ride has been closed since March of 2020 and has not reopened yet.
I heard that's a thing.
That sounds really cool, and I'm sad that it's not open.
I'm sad too, and I heard that it was cool, and I would like to do it, but rip.
Yeah.
So let's talk about our favorite and least favorite rides. Alli, do you want to give a list of like your favorite to least favorite out of the 4 that we did? Well, 5 that we did.
Oh, you're making me put them in order? Okay. Well, I'd say that my favorite was Mako. It was just, there's no loops in that coaster, and it was just a lot of fun. Lots of really big hills. So I really liked that one. I had put Icebreaker next. It was unique and thrilling. Let's go with Manta as my next one. It was fun, and it was a really unique way to like ride the roller coaster, in that you go and you put the thing over your head, and once everybody's locked in, you tilt so that your face is like you're parallel with the floor. So that was really fun and a really unique system. The only problem with that was that the ride's over and you're waiting for the train to pull into the like loading area, and you're waiting and you're waiting and you're waiting and you're sitting there and you're like, this is getting really uncomfortable. Next least favorite would be Kraken. It was a good ride. It was fun. CJ freaked out the entire time. It was hysterical. But it was a little bit like jostly, bumping my head back and forth a little bit, and my ears hurt afterwards just from bumping the sides. And then observation tower, it was fine. I don't like going up to high places, so it was air conditioned, which was lovely, but it just wasn't like Yeah, it was air conditioned. It was an air conditioned place to sit.
Yeah.
That's all I got for it.
Okay, so for my order, and I'll say I've been back to SeaWorld once since you and I were there, just with Devin. So we got to do Mako and the observation tower again. We haven't done any of the other rides. I tried to convince him into Atlantis, and he was like, I don't want to get wet. And I was like, really? Come on. Anyways, so Mako is number one for me. Yes, I was terrified when it happened, but the second time when I went on it with Devin, I knew what to expect, so I was a little more prepared, and I was okay.
Wow.
Devin freaked out.
You're such a chicken. That one's not even scary, CJ.
Okay, Devin freaked out a little bit. He thought he still had his sunglasses like tucked in his shirt. So we're going down the first hill and he's like holding onto his chest, but also trying to hold on. And I was like, you don't have your glasses with you. It's fine. So Mako is number one for me. Number two would be the observation tower. I really like those kind of things, and it's fun to get like that kind of perspective on the city that you live in.
And I will chime in on the observation tower. It was really cool that I was like, hey, isn't that Epcot over there?
Yeah.
Like we could see like a lot.
Yeah, we could see Universal, Disney. Like it's just, there's a lot of fun things to look at in Orlando in general, and seeing it from the sky was really cool. Okay, so Mako, and then observation tower, and then Manta is number three. That was a little intense for me, but I think I would do it again. Number four is Icebreaker. That was a really hard ride for me. I don't know why I don't like that one so much. I'm willing to try it again, but I just I don't know. And then Kraken is my least favorite. I hated that ride. I will not do it again. It was so rattly, like it hurt my head afterwards and my spine. I was like, this needs a track replacement. It needs to be a lot smoother. I think if it was smoother, I'd be okay with it. It's just the head banging really hurt.
I think the funny parts about Kraken was you were like, okay, let's get in line. Let's do Kraken. It was a walk on. And CJ, as we're getting closer and closer to the loading station, she's like, this is a bad idea. This is a bad idea. And I'm like, this is your idea.
Yeah.
And there was also, when we were on that first lift hill, I had noticed this, and I didn't say anything to you, but when we were on that first lift hill, I think I said to you, boy, there looks like there's a lot of upside down time on this ride, doesn't it, Siege?
I knew there was, and that's why I thought I'd be okay with it, because it's outside and upside down, so you're getting a lot of like fresh air and stuff, and it's not like it's in the dark where you're disoriented. And it wasn't like a crazy high roller coaster either, so it's like, okay, just gotta survive the loops and I'll be okay. And honestly, the loop part was fine. It was really just the banging around that was so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And one of my friends said to me they used to have optional headgear to wear on that ride, so it could be like a virtual ride. It's like, can you imagine not being able to see where you're going because you're looking at a virtual screen and banging your head around? Like, that just doesn't sound fun to me.
I would not enjoy that experience. I feel like that experience would be good if you have been on this ride 200 times and you know exactly what to expect, and you're looking for something to like freshen it up a little bit.
Right.
But not for a first timer. Not even for a fifth timer.
Right. So for food, we didn't eat at any traditional restaurants. They were doing their Seven Seas Food Festival while we were there. And quite frankly, I really enjoyed the food festival.
As did I. It was fantastic. We got a punch card, and I forget how much it was for the punch card.
I think it was $95, including tax.
Yeah, it was somewhere in the family of $100 for the punch card, and there were 18 stamps.
Yeah, so pass holders get a special one where you get 3 bonus ones. Usually it's the $95 for 15, but passes get an extra 3 punches for 18.
Yeah, so we got a lot of really delicious food. I was pleasantly surprised by the quality of the food.
And the quantity. I felt like the individual dishes were pretty decently sized. I think we each had, 3 things? 4 things, maybe?
I don't remember, because we did share a lot. So, like, we got the Brussels sprouts and we got that macaroni and cheese, and we just, like, split them both.
I think we
So
got 4 things, or I'm sorry, I think we had 8 or 9 things purchased. Because when Dev and I went back, it was like we had 8 or 9 stamps to use or something
that's
like
right.
that.
I think we stamped like 8 or 9 of our stamps.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So what was like your favorite thing that you ate at the food festival?
The Brazilian cheese bread.
That was
Oh, it
so
was so
good.
good.
And it's different than Disney's. Have you had the Disney version?
No, I have not.
Okay. So this version had like some sort of honey baked into
Yeah.
it or maybe drizzled on top. Disney's does not have the honey. So it's not the Disney one is not as sweet as this one was.
It was delicious.
Yeah, and my favorite was like the Brazil booth had this steak that was really good. It was so tender and so
Yeah.
juicy and so flavorful. I was like, "Oh, I love this."
You gave me a bite of it, and that was a really good steak.
Yes, yes, it was.
The Brussels sprouts were also really good. They had
They
like,
were.
I think it was maple bacon glaze, and then
Hmm.
there were sliced almonds that came with them as well. That was really
Yeah,
good.
yeah, I would get that again for sure. So,
Yeah.
how did you think the crowds were at SeaWorld?
Pretty good. I mean, we walked onto every single ride, and we also got there at opening, but we walked onto every single ride. The only one we really had to wait for was the observation deck, and that's just the nature of that ride. We mistimed it.
Hmm.
If we'd gotten there 5 minutes sooner, we wouldn't have had to wait, basically.
Yeah, and even at the food booths, there was like no wait for anything. I'm just, I'm comparing it
Yeah.
to Epcot where you can see 20 people in a line. We experienced a couple that had maybe like 2 or 3 people in front of us, but it wasn't crowded at all.
Yeah, and there was plenty of space to see the animals. So it's not like you're fighting a crowd of people to get up close to see the sea lions or the dolphins or the manatees.
Right.
There's space for you.
Yeah, yeah, it was good. So how does this compare to other SeaWorld parks that you've been to?
So I will say that I have not been to SeaWorld San Diego since about 2015. So I will not be making any comparisons to SeaWorld San Diego. I have been to SeaWorld San Antonio recently, and comparing that to SeaWorld Orlando, dear God, SeaWorld San Antonio is a pile of hot garbage.
Oh no. Oh no. Yeah, this park, I mean, it's been probably since I was 18 years old that 17 years old because we went with Girl Scouts senior year of high school to SeaWorld San Diego. So it's been a very long time and I don't remember much of it, but my impression of SeaWorld Orlando is that it's a very clean park. It's very spacious and pretty well organized. I think it's a great park, to be honest.
Yeah. SeaWorld San Antonio is a very clean park as well. It is small, and there is very little like animal viewing. You can see the sea lions, you can see the penguins in a space about half as big as the one in Orlando, by the way. There's a small sea turtle tank, there's a single alligator, and if you want to see a dolphin or a whale, it has to be in one of the shows.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So here in Orlando, I feel like it's a good mix of like there's a lot of animal viewing experiences. There's a lot of shows, a lot of rides, and a lot of places to eat, even when there's not a food festival going on. I just think this is a very well-rounded park for what it's trying to accomplish. And they have that
Yes.
concert series going on too for the food festival. So I just, it's a good park. I think it's worth visiting if you're into animals and if you're looking to do something that's not Disney.
Yeah, and it's really good for families too because there's that whole Sesame Street area for your children, for young children. There's all of these animals you can see, which is so cool. And then if you have braver children, there's rides like Mako, which is like a really good, there's a lot of really big hills, but if you've got a little daredevil, take them on that ride. They're gonna hopefully love it. And if they don't, I did not recommend it.
Next question here. What is one thing SeaWorld's doing right that Disney could adopt and vice versa?
So I'm not necessarily sure that this applies to Disney for the most part. But one thing that I really think is a smart thing that SeaWorld does is that they don't allow you to bring bags on the rides. and for a flat fee, you get a movable locker. So I paid for our locker. It was less than $10, and it was the entire day. We could rent a locker, put our stuff in it, go on the ride, close that rental, go to the next ride, start a rental there, same price. So I really like that system. Again, that doesn't necessarily apply to Disney because they don't have ride lockers except for Tron, and those are free anyways. So I like that SeaWorld does that. SeaWorld also has the option to not rent a locker at all and just stow your stuff on the exit platform of the vehicle. But if you'd like something a little bit more secure for your $700 phone that a lot of us carry around now, yeah, you want to put that in a locker because there's nothing stopping somebody from just grabbing your stuff. It's honor code. So locker.
Yeah. But my answer for that one, something Disney can adopt from SeaWorld, I really liked the lanyard for the food festival, and California Adventure offers that during their food festival. So why can't Epcot?
Epcot doesn't do that? That's ridiculous.
No. Yeah, it is. And pass holders or Magic Key holders now at California Adventure get a little deal. Obviously, it's not as good a value as SeaWorld, but there's still a little bit of value there. And I think that they would sell a lot of lanyards if they sold that.
Yeah, the calculation for our SeaWorld food deal, we spent $100 on the lanyard, got 8 punches out of 18, and we got over $100 worth of food.
Yeah, it was a very good value. Their dishes for their food festival dishes are expensive if you buy them on their own. They were like $9.99 to $12.99, somewhere in that range.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think Disney can offer some value by doing something like that.
I think the cheapest desserts were like $7.99. And the other thing with the lanyard is you got an alcoholic beverage, and it was a lanyard punch.
Yeah, it was
a smaller size. Yeah.
Yeah, but you could still at least do that. So
yeah.
Okay, so next question: what can SeaWorld adopt that Disney's doing?
A better app. I don't like the SeaWorld app.
No,
I think it's a terrible app. It's poor UI. The only good thing about it is that my pass is on the app, and it's really easy to switch like which SeaWorld I'm at. So there's just a button in the top where I can say, hey, I'm at San Antonio today, or hey, I'm at Orlando today. That's really easy. But other than that, the SeaWorld app is also a pile of hot garbage.
Okay. And my answer for this one is parking. Make parking less confusing. Because we have been, Devin and I and the family, we've been trying to leave the park, and it's not clear where the exit is. It's like trying to tell us to go this way, but then you can't go that way. So you try to turn around, and then all of a sudden it feels like you're driving into oncoming traffic in the parking lot. I'm just like, what the heck? Like, organize your parking and exiting situation a little better. That would be nice.
Yeah.
So, do you plan to return to SeaWorld? Any of the SeaWorlds?
I feel like I need to go to SeaWorld San Antonio one more time before my pass expires at the end of May, just to get that like one last value out of it. Mm-hmm. Other than that, I am not renewing for San Antonio. I don't think I'm gonna I'm not planning on renewing my SeaWorld pass, and I'm not planning any trips to SeaWorld or Busch Gardens locations before my pass expires.
Okay.
So I will be doing one last San Antonio trip and call it a day with my pass, and consider getting a Six Flags pass instead.
Okay. But if if the whole family was going to SeaWorld Orlando, would you just like buy a day ticket and go with us, or would you say, I'll skip it?
Yeah, I'd go with you guys. And not just because it's spending a day with the family, but, I liked being there. If you guys were coming here and said, hey, let's go to SeaWorld to San Antonio, I'd be like, why?
Yeah. So for me, I mean, obviously we've got passes, so we're going to return. And then one thing they do for Florida residents is there's the preschool fun card. So kids under 5 can I'm sorry, I think it's up until they turn 5. Like once they turn 6, they're not eligible. They get a free fun card. So like my son's pass is free. My daughter is still too young for a pass, so she's free. So it was really just Dev and I that had to pay for one for all of us for the year. And we just got in on Black Friday deal, and it was a very good value. So, I think as long as at least one of the kids gets in for free, we will continue doing that, because it's something different to do and it's cheap. So might as well.
Yeah.
Okay, our final topic for this episode is
Magic Kingdom After Hours. Pew, pew.
Yeah, so let me speak to what After Hours is really quick. These started probably 6 or 7 years ago. It's an extra ticketed event for Magic Kingdom. They now have it at Epcot and Hollywood Studios. I don't think Animal Kingdom has returned, but they've offered that in the past. And basically, the park is open for 3 additional hours past closing, and you can get in 3 hours before the park closes, I think. Yeah, 3 hours before the park closes. So you get 6 hours of park time if you arrive right when you're able to. And once the park closes to day guests, you get unlimited popcorn, unlimited bottled drinks, and unlimited like Mickey bar sandwiches kind of things. And admission is severely limited. So basically all the rides are a walk-on. And it's a really great opportunity to get to go on the rides, and you get some value there by having all those snacks included.
Yes. What she said.
So who was with us for this after hours adventure?
It was you, it was me, and it was our mom.
Yes, and we went on Monday, the 27th of February.
Yes.
Which was not sold out, because we were looking at like trying to gauge how crowded it would be, and Mom and I were checking, and that date didn't sell out. They were still selling tickets that day, which was nice. I mean, good for us.
Yeah.
So we arrived, we parked at like 6 o'clock. They let us in at 7. When you're going to Magic Kingdom, you have to factor in transportation time to Magic Kingdom from the parking lot. And it can take some time, it can take 20 to 30 minutes. So, we got there, parked, went to the Ticket and Transportation Center, used the bathroom really quick, and got on the ferry boat across the lake there. And we got in line for the turnstiles at like 6:30.
Something like that.
Yeah, and there was still a bunch. I mean, there were already a bunch of people there waiting. They had specially marked turnstiles, and they started letting people in at like 6:57 or something like that.
Yeah, it was really, really close to 7 o'clock. And once you went through the turnstile, you had to see a cast member to get a wristband.
Yes. So we got our wristbands, and then we took off. We kind of had a strategy here because there are some rides that were not going to be available during after hours. Primarily Monsters Inc. Laugh Floor, Carousel of Progress, and Hall of Presidents were not open during after hours, so we wanted to prioritize those things basically.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about the rides that we did. You want to go in order?
Yeah, so we started out with Monsters Inc. Laugh Floor. I had a joke told by the monsters. It was hysterical. Everybody laughed. And then from there we went to not Hall of Presidents. I'm sorry. We did not do Hall of Presidents that evening. We went to Carousel of Progress next. Like CJ said, we wanted to get these done while the main park was still open. Also, they're long, so we kind of wanted to get them out of the way and over with.
Each of those can take a good 20 to 30 minutes. So
yeah. From there, I think we hopped on the People Mover.
Yes,
is that correct?
People Mover. Yep.
Was this when you went and got your chicken nuggets?
No, because remember we rode in a rocket together.
I couldn't remember if that was before or after, because I know we did Astro Orbiter during fireworks, which was really cool. Highly recommend.
Yeah.
I don't remember what my verdict was on Astro Orbiter versus Astro Orbiter, but whatever it was, Magic Kingdom is the winner now, having been on that. It was thrilling. It was fun. CJ knows when I got off that ride, I was laughing uncontrollably. Yeah, and I'm not entirely sure why.
It's a fun ride. And then after that, I was feeling like I needed some protein in me. Like I knew we were going to get free ice cream and popcorn, but I needed some protein. So I split from you guys. I mobile ordered from Cosmic Rays and got like kids chicken nugget meal and gobbled down some chicken while you guys did Buzz Lightyear.
Yes. I had a come from behind victory where I ended up beating Mom in the end.
Nice. So then we were thinking, like, okay, do we do Space Mountain now and just finish out Tomorrowland, or do we go back later? And we went over to Space Mountain because Mom uses a scooter and that line is not like scooter compatible or whatever, so they can issue a return time. But I don't know, whoever was in front was like asking way too many questions. And we were like, this is a waste of time. Let's move on. So we went to Fantasyland, where we rode Mad Tea Party, Dumbo, Barnstormer, which Alli and I did, but Mom skipped out on that one. Little Mermaid, which had like the longest line I've ever seen for Mermaid. We waited like 15 minutes for that ride, which is surprising because it was after fireworks, and usually that part of the park is pretty empty after fireworks. But anyways, then we did Winnie the Pooh, and while we were in line for Winnie the Pooh, the park officially closed to day guests. So once we were off, like the party had officially started.
At that point, I think we wanted to like go do Space Mountain again, but it was closed.
Yes.
Space Mountain went down for, frankly, a good chunk of the night, which I was horrified. I was very sad about this because if y'all have listened to me for 5 seconds, you know that I like roller coasters.
Yeah, so we kind of kept monitoring it, but you had heard from a friend who was also there that the cast members were saying it was down the whole night. So
yes,
we weren't really sure what was going to happen, but we kept checking periodically. So after that, we went over to the carousel, King Arthur Carousel, which Mom also sat out on. And we wanted to do Mine Train, but we knew day guests from park operating hours were still in the park and probably still in line for that ride. Because for those of you who don't know, you can enter any line for any ride that's open up until like 1 minute before closing. So park closes at 10, get in line at 9:59, you're okay. So we figured there were still people who had gotten in line while the park was still open, and we wanted to wait for more people to trickle out. So that's why we did the carousel. And then we went over to Mine Train, which was posted at what, like 40 minutes or something?
No, like 25.
Okay. And we ended up waiting like 15.
Yeah, something like that. And that's where I ran into one of my runDisney friends. Hi. I don't think she listens to this, but if she ever does, hi.
And then after that, our thought was like, okay, well, Peter Pan and Small World are right here. We can do them now. Or do we do things that we like better than that? And we chose to do things that we like better than that, just in case we didn't, we wanted to make sure we used our time correctly.
Yeah. Ultimately, we ended up deciding to do the rides that were higher priority.
Yeah, which were?
We started with Haunted Mansion. From there, we went to Big Thunder, which 10 out of 10. It's my favorite ride at like Disney parks. I've always loved Big Thunder. After Big Thunder, we did Pirates after that, I believe.
Yes.
Followed by Jungle Cruise.
Yes. And then Country Bear Jamboree was on your list. So we did Country Bear Jamboree. And we were front row, the three of us. And I think only 2 other people plus the 2 cast members were in the theater. So that is quite an experience to basically have the theater to yourself.
And I actually do not recommend sitting in the front row center for the Country Bear Jamboree. There is a part where a bear descends from the ceiling on a swing, and oh boy, you get a really great view of that bear's butt. Yes, and true. It's it could use a little bit of maintenance, just in terms of like keeping the bear fur nicer.
Yes. So after that, we started heading back to do like Peter Pan and Small World. We debated doing Tiki Room, but then I just hopped on the app and I saw Space Mountain was open, and we were like, gotta go do Space Mountain.
Yeah. So we booked it across the park from the Country Bear Jamboree to Space Mountain.
Yes, and we made it on there. And then from there, we didn't have much time left, only like 30 minutes, maybe 20.
Thereabouts,
and we wanted to do Peter Pan and Small World, and we knew Small World was a long ride time. So we thought, okay, let's do Peter Pan first, get off of that really fast, and then do Small World. So that's what we did. And then on the way out, we stopped for Castle Pictures on Main Street. There's a bunch of PhotoPass photographers out, so it's a really great opportunity to get pictures with nobody else in them.
Yeah. And I will say the Small World, we were getting off the ride right as the park was closing for the event.
Yeah, so it was pretty much perfect timing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mentioned that you can have free bottled drinks, free ice cream, free popcorn, and we kept tally of what we had. So, Alli, why don't you tally it up here?
Well, in the park, the three of us consumed 3 bottled sodas total, so 1 for each of us. We picked up 4 popcorns and 5 ice creams. We also picked up some to take home.
Yes, which if you're going, I recommend bringing a backpack so you can fill up your backpack with whatever you want and take it home.
Yeah, so how much did you take home?
We took home 8 Diet Cokes and 3 waters. So we kind of did the math on this. Sodas are $5 a piece at those stands. Okay, so $5. So that's $40 worth of Diet Cokes that we took home, and 55, like counting the ones that we had in the park, $55 worth of Diet Coke, basically. And you had a Sprite. So $55 of Diet Coke and Sprite. Water is $3.25 a piece. So
that's about $10. Just shy of $10.
So, yeah, $10. Popcorn, I've got the reusable bucket. The refills on that are $2.25. And we had 4 of them. So that's $4.50 times 2. That's $9.
Mm-hmm.
And then ice cream.
5 ice creams.
Ice cream is around $6. So that's like $30.
Mm-hmm.
So total, we're looking at 55 plus 10 plus 9 plus 30. So 65, 95 plus 9, $104 essentially worth of food and snacks. So I would say we got our money's worth for one. I mean, that almost pays for 1 ticket.
Yes.
Yes.
It sure does.
Totally worth it. Totally worth it. Okay. So let's talk about what was your favorite part and least favorite part of After Hours?
So being in the parks at night is a whole different atmosphere than being there during the day. So I really liked being there at night, and I really liked that there was no people there. It was very, very empty, which is really nice. Not having to wait for lines. Also, the snacks and beverages were just a really nice perk. Like, they don't have to do that, and yet they did. So, thanks, Disney. Appreciate it.
Yeah, agreed. My favorite part is just getting to do the rides with no wait. My kids don't really like Magic Kingdom too much. I mean, they're okay with it. Like, if we take them, it's like we do the same rides over and over. So getting to do basically all the rides without waiting was really nice and a good way to experience the park. Mm-hmm. Now, least favorite part. What was your least favorite part?
I mean, I wish it was longer.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I was exhausted at the end of it. But I wish it was longer. I wish I would have been able to do just one more. And I don't know what that one more would have been, but I wish I would have been able to do one more. I wish that Space Mountain hadn't gone down for 90% of the event. Oh shoot. I had a plus that I forgot what it was. Oh, here's a plus. So we were getting off of Small World at 1 a.m. and walking down Main Street. They were funneling us back to park exit. We got to walk through the castle, and I got to see the Cinderella mosaics, which was really cool. I hadn't seen those in person before.
Yeah, and that's a good opportunity to see them because there's not a lot of people walking through.
Yeah, not a lot of crowds. There were other people who were also appreciating them as we were. I really appreciated that the park was closed, but the PhotoPass was still taking castle pictures.
Yeah.
They could have just said, nope, time to leave. But
especially because the event doesn't include your PhotoPass downloads. So the fact that they had them out there and people had to be paying extra to get those pictures, I think that's a good thing too.
Yeah. So thanks, Disney.
Yeah. Least favorite part for me, Mom and I did this in 2017, and I feel like there were more ice cream stands open. I didn't see any in Fantasyland. I didn't see any in Tomorrowland. Or no, I saw one in Tomorrowland, but I feel like primarily they were in Frontierland and Liberty Square. Like the one right outside of Haunted Mansion was not open. And I remember when Mom and I did that, I distinctly remember stopping there on our way out of Haunted Mansion in 2017.
Yeah,
So
when
it
we
seemed
were
like they had one cart per land, is what it felt like.
when we were walking through
Versus,
Fantasyland, I remember us being like, yeah, I'm gonna need like that Diet Coke or that Sprite just to get that little
yeah,
caffeine boost. And we were like, okay, next cart we see. And we didn't see one until like we were
outside of
almost
Hall
to
of
Big
Presidents.
Thunder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Remember there was that one outside Hall of Presidents and then down by Big
Okay.
Thunder. But I feel like it was just like one per land. So I think they could have maybe done a little more that way. But it was very organized how they had like beverages, drinks, popcorn just lined up ready to hand out to
Yeah.
you. So you didn't have to stand there and order. It was just super easy. So would you recommend this event? And if so, who would you recommend it to?
Yes. I would recommend it to unencumbered adults, possibly teens, like older teens. And by unencumbered, I mean you're not bringing your 5-year-old with you because your 5-year-old needs to be in bed.
Yeah. This is I would not bring my kids to this until they were probably like 14 or 15 at the youngest because it's so late and that's
Yeah.
really hard for them. I also would recommend this event. Like if you're going to splurge on something and you are a ride warrior, this is for you. If you're interested in seeing parades and shows and doing all that stuff, this is not the event for you. But if you only have one day to spend at the Magic Kingdom and, you're coming into town like for a work conference or something and you see that after hours is going on and you just have that one day, I would consider doing this instead of a full day park ticket because it's about the same as a full day park ticket. Yes, you're getting less hours, but the hours that you're there are more valuable because there's no waiting in line for anything really. The longest wait we had was like 15 minutes for Mine Train. So if you're a ride warrior, you're childless.
And not necessarily childless, but able to pawn your children off for an evening.
Yes. So ride warrior, no kids with you. Like maybe this is an alternative to your Magic Kingdom day. Recommend.
Yes.
But I would also say with the caveat that you kind of need to know the park. I would not have this be your first visit to Magic Kingdom. You need to know like, okay, let's go to this ride, this ride, this ride, this ride. Like, and you need to know the way the park works so that you're using your time most wisely.
Yeah, I think that's a solid assessment.
And then final question, would you do this event at other Disney parks?
So I don't think I would do it at Epcot because I think there is not enough ride-wise offered there. I would consider it at Animal Kingdom, but I would ultimately decide not to for Animal Kingdom. And I think I would do it for Hollywood Studios if Rock and Roller Coaster was open. I know it was like either closed or getting ready to close when I was there. But I think that having Rock and Roller Coaster not be available, I wouldn't do it. But Rock and Roller Coaster available, yes, I would do it because then you've got like that one more e-ticket.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat as you. I don't think it's worth it for Epcot. There's just not enough there ride-wise. I mean, go to Epcot in the second half of the day and the wait times are so low in the front half of the park anyways, like not worth it. Animal Kingdom, I struggle as to whether or not this would be worth it because like Kilimanjaro Safari is a huge draw to Animal Kingdom for me, but what are they going to do with the animals at night? Yeah, that's not going to work. So really it would just be for Navi River Journey and Flight of Passage.
And Everest.
But during the day I can do single rider on Everest and not really have to wait. And
but not when you're with me and Mom. You have to wait in line with me and Mom.
Well, yeah, but I don't. So and then Dinosaur never really has a wait during the day. Not too bad anyway. So like Animal Kingdom, I don't think is worth it. Hollywood Studios, I would consider because there's so many e-ticket attractions there. It's hard to get everything done. I would consider adding it on to my Hollywood Studios day because not as a replacement for a full ticket like I would at Magic Kingdom because there's so many shows at Hollywood Studios that just won't run at night. You know, if you want to see Indiana Jones or Beauty and the Beast or the Frozen sing-along, Lightning McQueen's Racing Academy, like those things are probably not going to be going on during after hours. And I think, those take up a lot of time and make your day at Hollywood Studios more complete. So I think if I were to do it at Hollywood Studios, being a local is a good way to do it, because you don't need to do the shows, or adding it on to your ticket.
Yeah. And I think if you're doing it as an add-on to your ticket at Hollywood Studios, make it like a sleep-in day and roll up to the park at like lunchtime.
Yeah. Yeah. And catch the shows like from lunchtime to dinner, and then after hours starts. So yeah, cool. All right. Well, any other thoughts on Run Disney, SeaWorld, or Magic Kingdom After Hours?
10 out of 10 would do any of them again.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. Well, I think that's just about it, right?
Yeah, I think that covers the Florida trip report. However, I know we're out of time for this episode, but we have a California trip report for me as well. So that'll be coming in the next episode, probably, right? I don't think we have anything else. I think we're out of trip reports after that.
Yeah, I think we're fresh out of trip reports.
Yeah.
Cool. So after this, we'll be talking to Alli about her trip to Disneyland, which was basically right after her Walt Disney World trip. And yeah, so let us know what you think of this episode. Have you done Run Disney? Have you been to SeaWorld? Have you been to After Hours? And what were your experiences like? Feel free to reach out to us on Instagram at Park2Park with the number 2. You can email us with questions, feedback, future episode ideas, and more at park2parkpod@gmail.com, again with the number 2. And if you would like to be a guest on the show, please reach out to us. We love having guests. It's a lot of fun. And don't forget to subscribe and leave a review wherever you listen to podcasts. And you can find us on YouTube as well.
Yeah, if you can, leave us a rating. We love stars. All the stars you can give us is great. Tell your Disney loving friends about our podcast. That is a great way to tell us that you like us, is by getting more people to listen to us. Tell your enemies about us, because we'll take anyone. We're not picky about who listens to us. Yeah.
And that's it, right?
I think that covers us.
So join us next time to hear about Alli's visit to the original Magic Kingdom, the happiest place on earth, Disneyland.
Yes, it will be a glorious 3-hour finale.
You got a minute and a half. All right, see you all next time.
Bye.